We are live. Hello everybody. How are you? I'm in the process of making some new prototype. Who are new today to this live stream? I'm Sveta Kletina. I'm a designer and shoemaker, and for last 13 years I make shoemaking courses online. I started 30 years ago and still making shoemaking courses online. And I'm also a shoe designer and shoemaker. Now I'm in the middle of some project, and later I will talk about this too, because it will be close to our, it touches our very important topic. Okay, so when I started making shoes, it was, I don't remember, I think in 2007 I launched my brand of shoes. So I'm still making footwear, but when I started I manufactured in factory. I produced in big quantities. So I made the designs and prototypes, and factory made the shoes. Then I passed to bespoke shoemaking. Okay, because I really love to work with my hands and to create shoes that requires a little bit more work, more attention, and after I started making bespoke shoes, I also realized that there is a lot of people that wants to learn how to make shoes, and this is actually how I started these courses. Okay, and still I'm doing the courses, a lot of different courses. And right now I'm working on some project for myself. You know, I love to create a little bit non-standard footwear, and if you want to see my works, my shoes that I made, you are welcome to visit my website svetakletina.com to see the shoes that I make. And now I'm working on the wedge. I want to create wedge to this shoe last, and I will make it out of wood. Okay, so what is important in the wedge is that it must follow the exact shape of the shoe last bottom, and I will talk about it in a minute. The theme of our live stream for today is about most common mistakes that beginners in shoemaking make. It's kind of trap that almost all my students fall in, and I want for once to answer to all these questions that I got from my students. And we already talked in the previous live sessions. We talked about tools. I was visiting my dear friend Branislav, and he showed a lot of tools. I don't know how many it was, and it was only part of the tools that he has. Some small part, okay. I think it was on the table was about 20 tools, and among all these tools, he really used only 4-5 tools every day. So this is also one of the most common misleading information that beginners have, that they think that to start making shoes you need to have all these tools, but actually to start making shoes you need only few simple shoemaking tools. And if you missed the stream, you're welcome to watch it. And before this live stream, we talked about shoe last, because there is a large amount of different shoe last types for boots, for sandals, for pumps, for moccasins, for sneakers, for van sneakers, for pointed toe pumps. Okay, also there is such a type of shoe last that combine qualities, characteristics of sandals and boots. Okay, there is this type of shoe last as well. So among all these different shoe last types, you need to have only one to start making your shoes, and we also talked about it in one of our live streams. Now, so this also touches the topic of our today's live stream, because it's one of the most common mistakes that beginners do. They think that they must have few shoe lasts to start making their shoes, and in reality you need to have only one shoe last type, okay, at least to start making your shoes. And only with one shoe last type you can make a lot of different footwear types. Now, about the strap that all beginners makes when they want to start making shoes, it touches main components that we must have to make our shoes. And you see, here I'm in the process of making wedge heel, as I mentioned before. It touches our topic. Why it's important, this shape, this line, the shoeless bottom. Because to create heels, to create insoles, to create wedge heels, wedge platforms, we need to repeat this shape exactly, that it will fit perfectly to the shoe last that we work with. And what happens, what I see a lot, that people just buy some insoles and try to attach these insoles to their shoe lasts. So there is a huge problem in this way. Just in this situation, just imagine that this is the profile of the shoe last that I made, and this is the shoe last bottom. It's only the view of the shoe last from this side point of view, and this is the curved line that the shoe last bottom has. If you will look from this point of view, you will see that here also we have few curves on the shoe last bottom. Okay, so the insole, the wedge, must repeat all this three-dimensional shape that the shoe last has. And what is one of the most common mistakes here is that when you buy ready-made insoles, you try to place on your shoe last, and how it works. Now let's talk about shoe insoles. Maybe someone doesn't know what is shoe insole. This is factory-made shoe insole that I order from the manufacturer that produces for me, using my shoe last, this insole. So what I did, I sent this shoe last to the factory, and they use the shape of this shoe last, and following the shape of the shoe last, made for me this insole. When I place it to the shoe last bottom, it lays perfectly. There is no gap here between the insole and the shoe last bottom. But what can happen when you buy ready-made shoe insoles? Even if you will follow the instruction of, I don't know, store where you buy, and buy, for example, this shoe last has a heel height of 5 centimeters. So the shoe sole also must have the shape that belongs to the shoe last with this height. Now let's see. I have another shoe last that very similar to the shape of this one. It's old shoemaking glass with very unique shape. Their shapes are very similar with few differences. Has some difference in the toe and in the shape here. But this shoe last is the same shoe size that I have and same heel height. Now let's see if I will, for example, will buy shoe insole, ready-made shoe insole with a heel height of 5 centimeters. So I bought it. Now I want to make shoes using the shoe last. What I will have. You see, I can figure out how to place it. I need to use here a lot of efforts to bring it close to the shoe last bottom. And even if I will squeeze like this, I still will have here a gap. For example, you will squeeze it, you will last your shoes, you will last it, and then when you will take off the shoe last from the finished shoe and will wear it, here in this area you will have some deep fold. Okay, you also can hear some click during wearing the shoes. You will feel this movement inside of your shoes. Okay, let's see if you can see it, this gap, what I'm talking about. Maybe you can see from this distance. You see what I'm talking about, this gap, because this shoe last has a little bit different shape. It's a unique shape that this shoe last has. So what are the consequences of this, of the use of this insole that I mentioned? You will have here big gap, you will have here fold between the upper and insole, and it will be not comfortable. Together with the non-pleasant look, these shoes will be not comfortable. Okay, so this is what can happen when you buy ready-made shoe soles. Of course, you can, for example, also the shape is a little bit different, you see, but these are a minor incorrection that we can fix. We can rebuild here a new piece of insole, cut extra that extends, but this shape we can change. Why? Because inside of the insole we have very important detail, steel shank, and because of the steel shank, these insoles have this strong and strong feature. So together with the heel, it can support the body weight. Okay, without this steel shank, it will collapse. So you remember I told that I ordered this insoles for my shoe. So in factories, how it works? They build the insoles following the shape, the exact shape of the shoe last bottom. Okay, and build the insoles following the specific shape of your shoe last. So this is one of the most common traps that beginners can fall in where they want to buy ready-made insoles, even if the insole has same heel height like the shoe last that this beginner work with, it will have this kind of problem. Okay, the gap between the insole and the shoe last, you see. Even if you will try to hammer it, because you know when we build our insoles and we insert the steel shank between these two layers, and In a minute I will talk about this too. Maybe you don't know how it was made. So we change the shape of our steel shank to be fitted so it will fit the shape of our shoe last. You see, for example, this almost has perfect fit. So we work with the hammer. Here, if you will work with the hammer, we have here these layers of different types of cardboards. We will ruin them. With our force, we'll build here, build, and we will break all our cardboard, okay? And still maybe we will not be able to change it because there is a trick how to create the shape following the shape of the shoe last, okay? So I suggest for beginners to make their own insoles. Now, because it may be some difficulty to find these materials, you have here two options to build your insoles. I mean, two options of materials that you can use here. For example, you can make like this one, similar to the ready-made insoles that factories produce that made out of texon, this flexible light cardboard, and out of a shank board. Here they placed very thin part of the texon shank board here, and full thickness of the shank board outside of the insole, and the texon covers entire shoe last bottom. Shank board we have only in this part where we need to create extra support to the arch zone, okay? So it's made out of texon and out of shank board, and between these layers we place a shank, steel shank, and this is what keeps body weight, especially in shoes with high heels. But I strongly recommend to use the steel shanks also in making shoes with low heels, like flat-bodied shoes, in every footwear type, excluding barefoot shoes, that there is a special type of footwear where we want to create something very flexible, so we don't use steel shanks inside of this footwear type. Also, we don't place steel shanks in kids shoes and in shoes with wedge heels. Why wedge heels? Because wedge, here for example, I started to design. For example, I want to create here, I started to work on it. I want to create here wedge with the height, I don't know, this one is 5 centimeters. For example, I want to create wedge heel with the heel height of total 8 centimeters. So this wedge, see, this wedge already will have, in this place, already will have support because of existence of this wedge that will be out of cork, out of wood or everfoam, okay? It will have the support for our arch zone, it will not collapse. So that's why in making shoes with wedge with platforms, we can miss this step where we need to apply a steel shanks, okay? So this is about that I wanted to talk about this one of the most important components in shoemaking. It's very important detail that connects between all other parts of our shoes. Here we will attach our upper and lining. We will create here shoe sole, and we will attach also the heel. So this in the middle let's say, middle part, that invisible part that connects all details of the footwear, and we created by ourselves, following the shape of the shoe last that you work with. Okay, now, so that's why to not spend a lot of money buying, searching for these insoles. Don't waste your time, okay? Because at the end you will have these problems that I mentioned. It will not fit your shoe last, and at the end you will have not comfortable and not beautiful shoes, okay? So save your money, don't buy the insoles, make them by yourself. Now, next important component is heels. I have here a few heels to show you. You see, all these heels are made from plastic. You see here, for example, heel to be lightweighted, they didn't place plastic fully inside of the heel to create lightweight heels. Regarding the heels that has this thin look, like some kind of pin, sometimes we call it stiletto heels. It's even thinner heel. It's a plastic heel with the metal pin that is inserted inside of the plastic, because without this metal pin, this heel will be not wearable. It will collapse under the weight of the body weight. Okay? In these types of heels, where we have wide diameter, it's not thin, we can the plastic heels will not contain this metal pin. It will be maybe a little bit higher. It still will not have this plastic pin because of the width of this heel. It has enough support for the body weight. Okay, even in this small heel, it's 5 centimeters heel height, we still have this steel pin, because of the shape of the heel, because you see it has this like conus shape. Here we have the heel seat and narrow bottom. So because of the shape, to have good support and to keep the body weight of the human beings, here we have the steel plate. Okay, so what happens with the ready-made heel? I, for example, when I started making my own shoes, for me it was a kind of disaster to find proper heels. I searched a lot, I went to a lot of stores to find the heels. What happens? How it works? You can't just go to the store, to the factory, I don't know, and say that I need heel 5 centimeters high. Okay, there is a huge amount of different heels with different shapes, with the same heel height. But what you need to bring your shoe last with you and try all these heels to place them under the shoe last that you work with and see how it looks together, how it if the heel fits your shoe last. Okay, you may like the shape, but when you will place under your shoe last, it will not look great. What I mean, one of the most important problems in buying ready-made heels that this heel seat, especially this angle, the wedge of the heel must fit the wedge of your shoe last. I will show you. For example, this shoe last. There's 5 centimeters heels. So when it's, you know, it's a different point of view, you need to look from this point of view. So let's imagine that here is a ground, a table. So what you do, you need to place your shoe last under the heel and see how it lays on this part. It must lay perfectly. You see, it lays perfectly, but then you need to place it on the ground, and how it lays on the ground together with the heel. Now let's see. The heel right here is, this is the ground, and this is the heel. So this here, the shoe last must touch the ground in this place, and the surface of this bottom shape of the shoelace, bottom tab of the shoelace must touch the ground. Okay. Also, it would be better if you will try it with the insole to see it exactly how it will look together with this component. But well, with the insole, you know, when it will be with lasted shoe, here we will have edges of the lasting allowance, and we will have a little bit flatter surface. So in this case, here you may have some small gap between the gap between ready-made heel and the insole because of lack of lasting allowance here. But what is important here is that the shape and this shape must lay on one straight ground. Okay. So if there is a situation where I will try to show you this way. This is the shoe last, okay? So when the wedge is too low, I mean when the shape of the shoe last the shape of the heel goes like this, and when you will attach it to the shoe last, it will create situation like this, where this edge of the heel will stay in the air. Okay, will be the gap between this edge and the ground. Okay, and what will happen in this situation after you will finish your shoes? The body weight here will force it, and this edge will touch the ground. Okay, so this, when it will force it toward the ground, this let's say here you have the not pump shoes. So this edge of the shoe, because of this movement, it will move like this. You see, this will go down, it will move like this, so it will pinch here. Suddenly it will pinch your back. Okay, so you may think that this is not your size, but in reality, what happened here, it was wrong heel, wedge of the heel, it was wrong wedge of the heel. Okay, even you choose the right heel height, but wedge was a little bit difference. There was a difference between this line of the heel and this line of the shoe last. Okay, and because of this, it will pinch your back. Now, if there is a different situation where the wedge too high, so when, for example, wedge were like this, but you place it under the shoe last bottom, and because it was too high here, it will stay like this. Okay, I am a little bit exaggerated here with this angle. It will be not angle like this, but you will have, just wanted to show you from this distance from the phone. But there will be a gap between this edge and the ground, okay? So when you will wear these shoes, okay, under the body weight, this will touch the ground and it will open the back part of your shoe and it will slide down from your feet wearing these shoes, okay? I'll show you here. It's one of my shoes that I made. So you know, when the body will press the heel, it will, if it was like this, it will go like this, you see, and you see this movement. So this what will pinch your back. Otherwise, if you will have this situation, it will make this movement and you will have here gap between back, top line of your shoe and your feet, okay? So this is one of the most common problems with buying ready-made heels, okay? If you buy them, you should go with your shoe last and try them one by one to see how it looks, because when you just buy it online and the heel height similar to the heel height of your shoe last, but when you place it, it doesn't fit, especially when you finish your shoes. And it's one of the most common mistakes in heels where we have, for example, heels with a long wedge, okay? Maybe some minor incorrections we can fix. What I mean minor incorrections, I will show an example of this shoe last. This shoe last has same heel height, but when I place it, you see it will dance like this, because this curved line of the heel flatter than the shoe last bottom that this shoe last has. You see, it goes with such a curved line, okay? Okay, so this imperfection we can correct by sanding our heel in this part that bother us, to attach it well to the shoeless bottom, and in the sling back pumps course I'm showing how to do it. Okay, so such a minor imperfections we can fix with ready-made heels. Okay, so and that's why I prefer to make my own heels, my own wedges. It's a little difficult work because, you know, especially if you will build your heels out of wood, it's a kind of hard work, especially if you don't know how to work at the beginning. But there is techniques how to work with it, and there is few tools that you need, extra few tools that you need to buy to create, for example, wooden heels. But if you don't want to create wooden heels, you can create leather stacked heels. Okay, leather stacked heels is the way where we create heels out of layers. We cut layers of leather and build heels. Here you have some limits, because you can't make heels like stiletto heels, like very thin heels, okay? Because it will not have a good support out of layers of leather with this such a small square here, okay, such a small diameter, and that's why here we have some limitation. But still we can create high heels out of layers of leather with diameter of 3 centimeters. It's maybe 3.5 to be sure that everything will be okay. We can do it, okay? And I think someone asked about this type of heels, and he thinks that it's made out of leather, but it's not. It's just a way to look like it was built out of layers, like we did in leather stacked heels. It's a piece of leather where they attached layers of leather and cut thin layer of leather and then covered it plastic heels like this. You see? It's only a cover for the heel. It's not built out of leather stacked heels. Okay, so it could be difficult to create high heel out of layers of of leather because, for example, in traditional way of heel making, how it works, you cut layers of leather like this, for example. How much you need, I don't know. Let's say that heel height is 5 centimeters. The thickness of each layer is 5 millimeters. So you need to cut 10 pieces of this leather. Okay, and you just cut a square lift like this, then you cut extra around the shoelace bottom, and then cut every of these layers, okay, one by one. After you attach it to the previous one, you need to cut it, to sand it, to to polish it, to work a lot. So instead of this, there is an alternative approach where you can prepare yourself to this work, and this is what I created for myself when I started making shoes, because I couldn't find any heels. So I thought how I will be able to create high heels out of leather with easy approach, because it's impossible to create pairs with this approach, cutting, sanding, a lot of work. So I developed a system how to create leather stacked heels with a already needed shape. And what it reminds you is to cut a little bit extra before you will attach it. You will prepare the heel before you will attach it, okay? So you kind of making ready-made heel and then attach it to the shoelace bottom, okay? This way how I started making shoes, and now I teach same way all my students. Okay, so to not waste your time, don't waste your money on buying heels. You can make them by yourself out of very simple materials. If you don't want to work with wood because it can be a little bit complicated, you can start with leather stacked heel type. Same leather you can use to create insoles. I forgot to mention about yes, now is the time. So out of this vegetable tan leather you can create heels, shoe sole and insole. Okay, so this material, textile and shankboard, may be difficult to find in small quantities. Okay, so instead of these cardboards you can make insoles out of vegetable tan leather using same approach like we use to create textile insoles out of textile boards. Okay, also with the steel shank in the middle. Now another big trap, I see it a lot, it's buying ready-made patterns. It's actually, it could be a topic by itself, but I will touch it in a few moments because I think we are already too long. So I just want that you will know about it. Yes, you can buy pattern in some place, but what happens? Even on the pattern in the description is written that this pattern was made on rounded shoe last with length, I don't know, 24, for example, size 37, 24, with the width 8 in the insole, and with the height of, let's say, 5 centimeters. Okay, it's similar to your shoe last. You buy it and you try to make shoes. What happened? I will show you very briefly. You can buy it, especially some small explanation about ready-made pattern. If you already experienced in making shoes, you know how to build patterns, and you want to buy some pattern, you will know that you will need to adjust it to your shoe last. And if you experience pattern making, you made already shoes, you can adjust it following the shape of your shoe last. Okay, adjusting of patterns also can be a little difficult procedure. You need to know how to adjust it. Okay, so if you experience making, you can buy it, maybe you already bought, and you can do it. But when you are only a beginner in making shoes, it will be very, very difficult to adjust this pattern to your shoe last. I personally prefer, each time when I make some mistake on my patterns, I prefer to make it from the beginning, because all these adjustments, you know, sometimes it creates bigger problems. So I prefer to make another pattern, new one, from the scratch. Okay, so you must know how to do it. But let's say the features, the characteristic of your shoe last suits to the characteristic of the pattern that was made, which was made for shoe last, that's similar to your shoe last. Okay, now I will show you briefly. I prepared this basic shoe pattern, and if you're familiar with this approach, is one of the best approaches to check your pattern out of paper. I do it a lot. This is the only way how I check from the beginning all my patterns. So you make a basic pattern, and then you need to check it how it lays on the shoe last. Why paper? Because paper doesn't stretch. Okay, and if you have some mistake on the pattern, you will see it immediately, because paper pattern will not lay good on your shoe last. If you make it out of leather, you can place it correctly on the shoe last, and you will not see mistakes, because leather can stretches. You can stretch it, you can pull it, and you will not identify any mistake. Okay, with the paper pattern, you will see a mistake immediately. So I will place it here on the shoe last to show you how it looks on this shoe last. I made this shoe last, I made this pattern for this specific shoe last. Okay, I need to attach it with masking tape, but I will show you like this. You see, it lays very well, and if I will pull here like this and pull here close with the masking tape, it will look excellent. Okay, without any effort, it lays perfectly on the shoe last. You see what I mean? It fits here, everything is on the place, the center line is on the place, you know, I mean on the place, the center line of the pattern lays on the center of the shoe last. Here also, if I will pull, I will not have here any gap, and if I will close here, it's tear up, because in this place I have a curve and the paper a little bit close here, and this is how it must be. Leather will stretch, so that's why I have here some small break, but it's supposed to be like this. Okay, so it fits perfectly. So let's say that this is pattern that I bought in some place that I created on the shoe last, but I work with this shoe last that it's very similar to this one. It has almost same shape, same heel height. Yes, the lasting allowance, the adjustment of lasting allowance, it's not big deal. You can cut extra, you can add more if you have a leg. But what happens with the pattern? If it's made on some other shoe last, you see, I can't even place it. You see, something here is different on this shoe last. It has more volume here, and here I just can't apply it correctly. You see, everything is not good. I can pull it more here. That doesn't give me. Okay, so just imagine that how many corrections you must have here with the pattern. It will not fit the shoe last that you work with. Okay, so it just was a short demonstration of this idea having ready-made patterns and trying to place them on your shoe last. Okay, so it could be very, very difficult, at some point even impossible, to use these ready-made patterns. So this is also kind of trap. I don't like when people use the ready-made patterns, so I advise to make your own patterns. Okay, if you already have experience with pattern making and can fix it, okay, do whatever you want. I personally don't do it. Okay, I prefer to build myself. And just a minute, I had some idea. Just a minute, you know, the idea is always like a wind. They come and then they gone. Just a minute. Okay. Okay. So this is three main topics that I wanted, three main traps that I wanted to talk with you about in this live stream, and it's about these components, insoles, heels, and a big topic, pattern. Okay, so make your own insoles, build your own heels, and make your own patterns, at least at the beginning. When you will have experience, and you will know what you need to check, what you need to source for, you are welcome to do it. Maybe you will find proper heels, proper insoles, you can order them in some place. Okay, but at the beginning too, I want that you will save your money and not waste them for components, for patterns that will be not good for you. Okay, so I'm tired. I barely can speak. Okay, so maybe this is it. I think I talked about all things that I wanted to talk about, and if you have some questions, you are welcome to ask me. You can comment below this video. Okay guys, and have a good weekend. See you soon in the next live stream. Goodbye.